My name is Erin. I'm a fourth-year undergraduate student here at the University of Toronto. And as I stand before you this morning, I'm appalled to be a student at this university. To know my tuition dollars are used to fund genocide and bombs and weapons and death and destruction and devastation and heartbreak and grief. And I'm appalled to be part of this institution that is complicit in Israel's genocidal siege on Gaza, on Rafah, the West Bank, the whole of Palestine since October and for the last 76 years. Yesterday, during our meeting with U of T administrators, Israel dropped 7 2,000-pound bombs in designated safe areas northwest of Rafah, burning people alive. Halfway through the meeting, U of T administrators asked to step out for a break to further review our demands. We opened our phones to bear witness to the horrifying footage and images of beheaded children and charred bodies burned beyond recognition, all in an area that was supposedly a safe zone. In the last 48 hours since the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to halt its genocidal siege on Rafah, Israel has dropped more than 60 bombs. Bombs paid for by my tuition, bombs paid for by this institution, bombs paid for by the University of Toronto. And in spite of all of this, despite all the horrors and atrocities we are seeing every single day, for the last 234 days, U of T continues to tell us they cannot make commitments. And that we must go through bureaucratic committees that will lead us nowhere. But we do not have time for committees. We do not have time to wait. There is a genocide ongoing right now. We need commitments right now. We need commitments to divest, to disclose, and to cut ties with Israeli academic institutions. If you open your eyes to what is happening in Rafah and what's already happened across Gaza, the West Bank, you will understand why we have no choice but to continue negotiations until all our demands are met. And yet, instead of meeting with his own students, instead of meeting with his Palestinian students, U of T President Merrick Gertler has now given one closed-door press conference to select media in which he barred U of T's own student newspaper from attending, given a live radio interview, and now will be speaking before Parliament today, all before meeting with and speaking to his students. So I ask why? Why has President Gertler refused to meet with his own students? What is he afraid of? It cannot be because he cannot find us, for we have been here every day for the past 25 days. I can only guess that it is because he is ashamed to look Palestinian students in the eye and tell them that he does not care, that he does not care about their families, that he does not care about our demands, that he does not care about divestment, that he does not care about killing their families. In a CBC radio interview, President Gertler stated, and I quote, "Negotiations are ongoing." And so here we are, as students, faculty, and staff, and members of the U of T community, steadfast in our demands, steadfast in our demand for divestment, having received a trespassing notice, having been threatened by this institution with academic repercussions, including suspension and expulsion, having threatened faculty members with termination, shame. Knowing that as I speak to you this morning, U of T is in court seeking an injunction and has hired a notorious employment law firm to defend its claims. Shame. All in an effort to allow Toronto police to come in and raid this encampment and to put his own students in severe danger, simply because U of T refuses to acknowledge, let alone divest from Israeli apartheid. Shame. So let us not forget that it has been 4 years since George Floyd was violently murdered by the police. Let us not forget that there are Black students here at the University of Toronto, here at this encampment, who are putting their bodies on the line to stand up for what is right, to stand up for Palestinian liberation, to demand divestment. Let us not forget that there are Palestinian students who are grieving the loss of their loved ones, and yet here they are, being threatened by this administration, by this institution, by the University of Toronto, for standing up and demanding that their tuition dollars not go towards killing more members of their family. Let us not forget that there are Indigenous students here at the University of Toronto who are part of this encampment, who have every right to this land, and who are receiving a trespassing notice and being told they have no right to their own land. Let us not forget that there are Jewish students at this university who are part of this encampment, who have faced continual harassment and hate speech simply for standing up and saying genocide is wrong, not in spite of their faith, but because of it. And it's not just people coming to the People's Circle for Palestine yelling horribly anti-Semitic things. It's coming from faculty here at the University of Toronto, faculty members who are on the U of T's governing council. But again, we have no choice other than to continue our negotiations and ensure U of T is no longer complicit in this genocide. And so here we are, here we will be, here we will continue to be, and demanding divestment. And so later today, we will meet again with U of T at 5 p.m., once again asking the University of Toronto to pick a side, justice or genocide.